Today, we check out our new Classic Stronghold Iron fence panels for installation on hills and grade. Hey everyone, Jason from Iron Fence Shop. In the past, your only options for following a significant hill or grade with an iron fence was to either stair-step the fence or go with a custom piece welded to follow. Our new rackable versions of our Classic Stronghold Iron fence panels look to strike a balance between those options by providing an iron panel you can rack at installation. So today, I wanted to introduce and review our new iron racking panels, as well as go over some important differences between installing the standard iron panels and installing the racking iron panels. If you aren't clear on what these racking and stair-stepping fence installation terms mean, check out the video I linked in the description below. That's an older video that only references stair-stepping the iron fence, but it shows a racking aluminum panel as well. It also explains what a rise over run measurement is and why we'll need to know that number as well to work with the racking panel. That video is a good primer on what this all means and why you would want to use a racking iron fence panel versus a standard one. Now that you've watched that video and know what all this terminology means, this video should make more sense. Also, if you now know your rise over run measurement, we can make sure the range of movement on the racking panel is enough to follow your hill. With all that out of the way, let's take a closer look at our racking iron fence panels. Here, I have a 3-foot tall standard classic iron panel and a 4-foot tall rackable classic iron panel next to each other. Both are built in our heavy-duty signature grade. As you can see, the only difference between the two fence panels is that the standard 3-foot panel is 8 feet wide, whereas the racking 4-foot panel is 6 foot wide. We had to make the racking panels a narrower 6-foot width so you could easily rack them. So be aware that the panel widths do differ between standard and racking iron fence panels. Other than that panel width difference, they are built from the same pickets, rails, and finials. There is one slight difference in construction that makes one panel standard and the other racking. To see that, we need to flip our pieces over and look under the rails. On a standard fence panel, the picket is going to be welded on both sides for a rigid construction. On a racking fence panel, the picket is only going to be welded on one side. That single larger weld is what will allow you to adjust and rack the panel. The hanging brackets used for the standard and racking fence panels will differ as well. The standard classic panels will use a standard bracket or angle bracket like these. You will need one self-tapping screw per standard or angle bracket. The racking classic panels will use a 2-tab flex bracket that allows for the rails to enter them at a racked angle. You will need up to 3 self-tapping screws per 2-tab flex bracket. When planning and installing your project with racking panels, there are going to be some key differences that need to be taken into account before you start digging your post holes. When you adjust or rack the panel, you are changing its installed width between the upright posts. So racking the fence panels can change the materials needed and where you space out your post holes. Let me show you what I mean by using some props. Let's say these prop pieces are my fence panel and my 2 posts. If I install the fence straight across like the standard panel, we have 14 inches between the posts to fit our panel. However, if I leave the posts at the same 14-inch width apart and begin racking my panel, our measurement changes. The width of our example fence panel prop is still 14 inches, but as we begin to rack it down, the distance between the posts begins to shrink. If I stop the rack here, the distance required between the upright posts has shrunk from 14 inches to 12 inches. A mild rack of your panel may have little effect on your post spacing. However, a steeper rack could bring in your posts more dramatically, like our example showed. It's key to understand that unlike a standard iron fence panel that you can space the posts 8 feet apart on, you need to figure out your panel rack and spacing before you dig those post holes. If you simply space the posts the 6-foot panel width apart, you may find your panels coming up short on fitting between the posts. For our racking iron panels, we rate these up to a 15-inch rack or drop per 6-foot wide fence panel. This means that from one side to the other of the panel, you can rack to follow up to a 15-inch drop in grade. Now you may be able to get a little more out of that panel, but you risk breaking welds or dimpling the railing. You should know in advance of racking the panel what rise over run number you are aiming for, or basically the drop you're aiming for. So long as your rise over run or drop is 15 inches or less every 6 feet, the racking panels will work for your application. I'm going to be doing a separate video that goes into more detail with the racking iron fence panel installation. For this first one, we wanted to introduce the new classic style racking iron panels and go over some highlights on them. Be looking for the install specific video to come out soon after this one. I hope this video has helped show the purpose and installation of our new Stronghold Iron classic style racking panel. Be sure to check us out here at ironfenceshop.com. If you have any other questions, you can shoot us an email at sales@ironfenceshop.com or give us a call at 800-261-2729. We look forward to hearing from you.